In 2008, a horror comic released that would become a hidden gem only talked about in the comic book community. But something happened in 2020 that changed everything. Oh, no, my God, no, totally not what you're thinking. I'm talking about the other major event that happened in 2020. The premiere of Netflix's Locke and Key. Locke and Key is an all-timer comic series for me. Issue 1 has been on that display wall since before that display wall was even in this room. So you can imagine I was pretty excited for the Netflix adaptation. And while it differed from the comic series drastically at points, I loved the show all the way through. And since the inception of this channel, I've been trying to think of the right way to cover Locke and Key in any way that I can. And boy, did the answer fall right in my lap recently. And the answer is to not talk about the Netflix series at all, but instead, the failed Locke and Key pilot. Much like every other non-Marvel or DC comic book adaptation, Locke and Key landed 100 different places before Netflix picked it up, the main two being Fox and Hulu. While these may be owned by the same company now, back in 2011 when Fox had the rights, these were two separate companies. So back then, Fox produced a full pilot that they eventually passed on due to the series' dark content. The pilot for this series was later shown at the 2011 San Diego Comic-Con, in an attempt to get the series picked up elsewhere. But of course that never happened, and after years of floating around, the series rights eventually fell on Hulu's desk in 2017, where a pilot was produced and an entire first season was written before Hulu also passed on it, and the series wound up at Netflix, and after many changes to the Hulu series, it became the show we know today. And that would have been the story of the Locke and Key TV history. But somebody decided just 1 month before that Netflix series aired to leak the Fox pilot from 2011. And it's pretty different. Let's start off with the cast, because of course the cast was different in this iteration. It was made 10 years earlier, and you can't have people believably playing high school kids for 10 years. This isn't Euphoria. Just like the Netflix version, the cast is mostly made up of people you may have seen in something, but probably not, with a standout actor or two thrown into the mix. Those standouts being Miranda Otto, who you may have seen playing Eowyn in Lord of Ring. That may not even be how her name's pronounced. But if you didn't watch the only bad movies Elijah Wood has ever made, then the biggest actor of note here is Jesse McCartney. And of course, his beautiful soul. The casting here is good. They don't do a bad job at all. But it's really hard for adult John Connor to compete with Aaron Ashmore as the definitive Uncle Dunkle. And you may think I'm crazy because Shawn Ashmore is way more well known, he has more iconic roles, or you aren't educated on the Ashmore family tree and you probably think that these two are the same guy. They are, but these two aren't. Either way, in my eyes, Aaron Ashmore will always be the Ashmore twin that stole my heart. But that's enough about the Ashmore twins. Let's get into this pilot. If you aren't familiar with the Locke and Key story, this version starts the way every other version does, with 3 innocent children, Tyler, Kinsey, and Bodie Locke, enjoying a nice summer's day, and then a kid from their school comes over and blows out the front of their dad's face with a revolver. So let's get this all straight first. Fox made it all the way through filming this, then filmed enough more to cover 38 more minutes edited down. Then they put it all together with VFX before they thought, this one might be a little dark, maybe we'll pass on it. So after the dad gets a sunroof installed in his face, we cut to 3 months later where the family is moving to their dad's old family home called Key House. On the way over there, we see the youngest Bodie is rocking the coconut head haircut. And later, this kid went on to be young Matt Murdock and the Ozark Kid, so it didn't get much better for him in the haircut department. Can't believe I'm just out here publicly cyberbullying a 7-year-old. So they get to Key House and run into Uncle Duncan. Not my Uncle Duncan, who is helping them settle into the house. And now I'm going to cyberbully this guy for a minute. Or I guess he's going to bully me, because for some reason, this guy sends chills down my spine. This is a horror show that I watched in the dark at 11:30 at night on YouTube in 360p grainy quality, And nothing was more unsettling than this man that's supposed to be the happy, lovable uncle. Even the thumbnail of this YouTube upload that is just of his face smiling for some reason rattles me to my core. Why is he so scary? As the family is settling in, they mostly just mope around the house. And this is where, for the first time, we see Tyler doing the Kevin James. I say for the first time because he does this a lot. It's pretty much all he does in this pilot. But that actually makes Jesse McCartney perfect for the role, because that's all Tyler does for like the entire first book, so he nailed it. Oh, look at that. He can even do it while running. But while everyone is moping around, Bodhi is just being a silly little rascal exploring the house, where he stumbles upon a key. And then he puts that key in a lock, you know, like the title of the show. Except it's not, because that's Locke the name. Locke. Learn to spell, idiot. This is where we get to the major plot point of Lock and Key. They find a series of keys that have magical abilities, with some requiring certain locks to use the ability. The one Bodhi finds here is called the Ghost Key, which will turn Bodhi into a ghost when he walks through a certain door with the key in it. While Bodhi is flying around as a ghost, nobody happens to notice the little boy's lifeless body laying on the floor, because they're too busy doing the Kevin James. Then we cut over to Sam, the dad murderer, in jail, and we get some more backstory on the whole dad murdering thing, before showing Tyler and Kinsey at school, where we see Tyler do the only thing he does this episode other than be Kevin James, which would be to have a meltdown about his dead dad because he got ketchup on his shirt.
Tyler Locke, father murdered by a psycho. Nice to meet you. That there's Kinsey Locke. Same deal. Hello, hi, Tyler Locke. Father shot right in the head by a kid I knew. Right in front of me.
You know, typical teenager stuff. During the time that Tyler was making sure he would have 0 friends at his new school, Bodhi hears a knock on the well house door and goes to investigate. In the well house, he finds his echo and starts talking to it. But spoilers, it's not actually his echo. It's a lady. Well, wait, there's a lady stuck in a well? So we do learn through flashbacks and the scenes in the jail, Sam was convinced to kill the kid's dad, Rendell, by the lady in the well, who talks to him through reflections. Well, she can also deliver things through the reflections, and she convinces Bodhi to give her scissors and a mirror so she can give them to Sam to escape prison. And somehow, Sam manages to escape a whole prison armed with nothing but a pair of Dollar General kitchen scissors. If somebody can do that, and they come to your house to kill your dad, you let him kill your dad. You don't have a dad anymore. Don't mess with that guy. So Sam travels to Key House to finish helping Dodge, the girl who's stuck in the well, find a key. When he gets there, he knocks out Kinsey and Tyler, but Tyler gets knocked out through the ghost door that was left open, so Tyler becomes a ghost, and Sam thinks he killed him. He then proceeds to lock Nina and Uncle Terrifying in the wine cellar, while Bodhi is trapped by Dodge. But luckily, Tyler unghosts himself, fights off Sam until Kinsey can get a hold of Sam's gun, and she pumps him full of bullets like a Sopranos execution. And then the pilot ends with Dodge killing Sam and throwing him out of the ghost door to live as a ghost forever. And then Dodge escapes and the family goes on living happily ever after. And then the camera pans to reveal that Nina is stuck in a jar in a tree. Don't ask about that last one. I don't know how we get there either. So, Locke and Key's first attempt at a TV series. It's certainly interesting. This is the 4th video I've done on a canceled project like this. And the reason I keep going back to these is because I like peeking behind the curtain to see what would have been. But would I have wanted this over the Netflix series? It's hard to say, but I don't think so. But you really only get a glimpse of what could have been here. We only got to see Tyler do one thing. To Kevin James. Kinsey had an argument with Nina that I didn't really talk about. And Bodhi we did get a lot of, but he plays the character to be as obnoxious as you would expect any 6-year-old to be in real life.
Postcards are cool.
Bodhi, you're 6. Kinsey.
So I guess he nailed it, but I don't really want 3 seasons of that. The strange thing about this show is how much it covered in a single episode. This was nearly the plot of the entire first season of the Netflix series, and it was the entirety of the original Welcome to Lovecraft book, but it was condensed down to a 45-minute runtime. The pilot itself does feel very faithful to the source material, even more than the Netflix series does at times, but the way it ends and how quickly they blew through that entire first book story gives me the later seasons of The Walking Dead vibes. You know, the ones where they were like, we've got this whole beloved book full of stuff to pull from, but what if we just made stuff up instead? Of course, you can't go judging something off of what you think it would have ended up being if it kept going. So when it comes down to it, it's a good pilot. It almost feels like a low-budget, Lifetime movie version of Lock and Key. I really liked the more horror approach they took to it. It can be pretty unsettling at times. And I'm not just talking about the 3 weeks of nightmares I suffered from seeing Uncle Duncan's face. But if you want to contribute to those nightmares, for every subscriber I get, I will look at a printed out wallet-sized photo of that terrifying thumbnail image directly before I go to bed. Please don't do that. I do not want to look at it again. You can also comment, like literally anything you want. Nobody will stop you. Go ahead, try it. Comment what you had for dinner, or the entire United States Constitution. I'm serious, no one will stop you. You can also leave a like, or maybe even pick yourself up a t-shirt or a beanie at blaster-goblin-shop.fourthwall.com or at the link in the description. Haven't you always wanted a red shirt? But most importantly, go watch Lock and Key. Hey, it's me from the editing bay, and I was here going through Jesse McCartney's Beautiful Soul for the 14th time. Like, this music video is just these edgy teens driving around in a car, but they stop at a gas station for milk. Just milk.
Whose decision was that? Kids don't like plain white milk.
Alright, I'll let you guys get out of here.